Good evening, everyone. So, tonight we have a special guest with us. We are going to talk to Dr. Kelly Humphrey. He is a naturopath doctor and he is a graduate of Trinity School of Natural Health. And he has a passion for health and wellness and helping families achieve their health and wellness goals. So, tonight we are going to talk about detox. And let me bring Dr. Kelly on. Here he comes. And there he
Hey,
is.
Holly.
Hi, Dr. Kelly. So I was just introducing you and telling everybody how excited I was about we're going to talk about detox tonight. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to touch on, why is detox important to begin with? I hear a lot of people that really do appreciate health and wellness and trying to stay healthy. They talk about detox from time to time. And why would that be something that's important even to begin with?
Well, we can't talk about detoxification unless we talk about the great lymphatic system. And when I'm talking about detoxification, I'm talking about regenerative detoxification, regenerating our cells. And there are, besides water, you have two major fluids in the body. You have the blood that feeds our trillion of cells. And then you have that cell waste caused by oxidative stress that dumps toxic, acidic waste into the lymphatic system, into the lymph fluid. And think about your lymphatic system as like your sewer system. And your main eliminative organ for your lymphatic system is your kidneys. So if your kidneys aren't filtering correctly, you can't get rid of all that acidic waste. And your skin is considered your third kidney. So that's why you can see through detoxification a lot of people skin breaking out, rashes, eczema, acne, any skin condition through detoxification because the skin is trying to make up for the work that the kidneys should be doing. So, and that's the
Mm.
key to being healthy is a correctly functioning lymphatic system, your correctly functioning kidneys that can eliminate that waste. And what are we detoxing from? Uh, we there's two sides of chemistry. There's acid and base, or acid and alkaline. And when we're consuming acidic foods, and anything besides fruit and vegetables, for the most part, are acidic foods. Fruits and vegetables are alkaline foods. Even your meats, your dairies, your grains, your nuts, your seeds, your beans, they're all acidic and they're
Mm.
hard to digest. So it creates a lot of acids to the cell and creates a lot of oxidative stress on the cell. Um,
So some
and
of so some of the things that would be happening, like if we, because maybe some people don't realize like why they would need to detox. So some of the things that would be happening to them would be like they're getting acne a lot, or maybe they're getting like eczema type rashes, or just like skin conditions, you would say. And maybe like what would other symptoms be that like your body really needs to detox?
right, well, we need to talk about the different toxins we're getting first. And we're getting, it's not just from the food, it's from the water. We should be drinking purified water. I recommend getting shungite stones and purifying the water with shungite stone because it's healing water. It'll give you a lot of energy. It'll give you more energy than caffeine, and it'll purify the water. We're getting bombarded by toxins in the air from
Mm.
geoengineering. And if you look up in the sky and you see cloud trails, those are chemicals being sprayed in the air. A lot of heavy metals. And I know I talked to you about heavy metal detox, and you were trying to figure out, where am I getting this mercury? Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you're getting it from. It's being sprayed in the air. And then the toxins that we put on our skin,
Mm-hmm.
cosmetic products. And then there's the 5G and all this bad Wi-Fi frequency that we're getting. And we're getting from our smart meters. All of these things damage the cells in our body and create oxidative stress. So, who can benefit? Everybody can benefit. What symptoms do people have that tells them they need detoxification? Pick one.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you can, if you go through a good detoxification and regenerative detoxification program, you can live a symptom-free life. And I don't care what label that the doctors put on it, the label of disease. There's no such thing as disease. Disease is man-made. It's their explanation of diseases is nothing more than the symptoms of damaged cells in your body. It's about cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
So
So basically,
any
you're saying, like, you could feel any number of yucky symptoms, basically, and it's really just the overload on your body being bogged down and how that presents itself. That makes perfect sense. Um, yeah, I just thought I would ask because maybe the average person, I think sometimes we live in such a toxic world with all of these things you're talking about that people feel this way day in and day out, and they don't really realize that they don't have to feel that way. I think
that's
sometimes.
right. That's right. I've been in natural health for 17 years, and leading up to that, I thought it was just normal to have migraine headaches and irritable
Mm,
bowel syndrome and lack of energy and these other symptoms. It's like, well, I guess this is just part of life. This is just
mhm.
normal. Everybody's suffering through it, and this is what I have to suffer through.
Yeah,
So a
yeah,
lot of people, and then and then
that's sad.
there's also different levels of healing. When I started to get into natural health, and my symptoms were going away, and I had more energy, I thought I was doing great. I was eating a clean diet, grass-fed beef, antibiotic hormone-free chicken, reading labels, cutting out GMOs. But then when I went into plant-based and raw, and then my energy level was really good. It was here, but now
Mm,
it's way up
okay.
here. And then I look back
Mhm.
on that and say, whoa.
You
So, I
noticed a
mean,
huge difference. Yeah.
there's levels of energy, and, God created everything with frequency, a resonant vibrational frequency. And, scientists can measure that in a human body. A healthy human has an average of 6,500 angstroms of energy. Well, they can measure foods too, and fruits come at the highest. They're 12 to 13,000 angstroms. Vegetables are about 8 to 9,000. So anything over 6,500 is going to increase your frequency. So a lot of, I tell people I tell people that being healthy is about increasing your frequency, and it really is. It's about
Mm,
increasing your vibrational frequency through consuming high vibrational foods like fruits and vegetables. You get into your cooked vegetables, now you're destroying some of the enzymes and the nutrients in the food. You're also destroying some of its magnetic frequency. So your cooked vegetables come down to about 3 to 4,000. Now they're under 6,500. So it's not just about the nutrition that's in the food. It's about its vibrational frequency. And then you get into animal proteins, and animal proteins it has no life force. It's dead. So it
mm,
has no frequency. So it's bringing down your frequency. So when
interesting.
there's different levels of healing and different levels of detoxification.
So, that's really interesting. Well, when we talk about, detox, and I've heard you mention oxidative stress a couple times, and I know that that was a term that I really wasn't familiar with along my health journey until I would say, a little over a year ago. And, we talk about ways to bring that down. And I know that that really creates a lot of havoc in the body and inflammation and things like that. So, I actually found a product called NRF2, and that is scientifically linked to being able to reduce oxidative stress. But when we talk about detoxification, how does NRF2 tie into that, and what that does for the body? How does that help with detox?
Well, again, we were talking about the food, the water, the air, like all the places we're getting toxins. We're causing oxidative stress on the cells. So we need to reduce our oxidative stress to avoid those foods, uh, do heavy metal detoxes, read labels, and try to reduce our oxidative stress that way. But NRF2 activates the gene in your cell to destroy the free radicals on a 1,000,000 to 1 basis, where food, if you eat an apple, for every free radical molecule, the free radical, it will reduce the oxidative stress on a 1-to-1 basis. But NRF2, so, and the whole thing is, like I said about detoxification, is you're creating oxidative stress from all these things in our environment. So that's the key. What NRF2 does is amazing, because it helps reduce that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And the oxidative stress on the cell is going to create, when you have more oxidative stress on your cells, it's going to create more acidic waste dumped into the lymphatic system. So by reducing that, when NRF2 reducing that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days on average, and I believe it's 70% in 90 days on average. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see why that's highly beneficial to detoxification and speeding up the detoxification process and the healing process. You can do this all on food, but it's going to take time, and then you have to look at our food supply. Do you know how frustrating it is? Because I eat a lot of produce, and it's very frustrating just to find ripe fruit. I pretty much gave up on some things, because, like organic peaches, they're always hard as a rock. So you got to find a local farm. So there's just a bad food supply out there. I mean, you can do it on all food, but it takes a long time to do that. So that's why we have, the botanicals that we can use that will really help support the systems that we're struggling with, and help reduce that oxidative stress. And NRF2, with the 5 herbs working synergistically together, and just hitting that sweet spot, and be individually, they don't work as well if you take them individually, but in this proprietary formula, taking them together, working synergistically, it hits that sweet spot. Because, first thing I thought about was, well, I understand what the 5 herbs are, and I'll just go out and buy those 5 herbs and just make my own formula, right?
I actually
That
did that,
doesn't.
by the way, for like 2 years. Didn't work.
Yeah, no, and I think in the proprietary formula, the exact amount of each herb, like I said, they hit a sweet spot with it. And if you're I think if you're just a little off with that, trying to do yourself, you're not going to be able to reduce your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days.
So, if you're being realistic, I mean, obviously somebody that is very determined, very on the path to healing, yeah, they could achieve reducing their oxidative stress. It's going to take longer for sure, but if you have this added in, number one, it's going to go faster, and number two, you don't have to drive yourself completely and terribly mad trying to make sure every single thing is perfect, like you said
Well,
about the peaches, because sometimes we really don't have those resources when we go to the store to buy everything that, we really want
that's right.
exactly. So,
Well,
yeah,
and you can't be a purist, because you wouldn't have any friends.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, so another question I had is, and I have this myself. It's called MTHFR, and it's a genetic mutation. And I hear a lot of people in the health and wellness groups mention it. And, a lot of times they ask, well, what does that mean? What would taking NRF2 look like for me since I have MTHFR? So could you maybe touch on that?
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter what labeled disease you have or symptoms you have. Again, oxidative stress is the underlying cause of most every disease or all these symptoms that we have. So regardless if it's a gene mutate, and the doctors will tell you, oh, you're stuck with that the rest of your life. That's not true. Through a correct detoxification, regenerative detoxification program, you can reset your genes.
Hmm. Okay. So don't be afraid of this if you have MTHFR. It's perfectly fine to be I mean, I know I take it. I was wondering that too myself when when I
I
heard of
can't
this.
I can't think of any condition or symptoms that someone would have where you would not take it. Now, some people go through. Some people are very sensitive to herbs.
Hmm.
I've had two clients that started off on a tablet, and it made their heart pound, and they couldn't take a full tablet. They were sensitive to herbs, so they had to start off with just get a pill cutter, maybe a quarter, or even smaller if they have to. But whatever you need to take, that you're not getting this blowback, take that, and then build up to that full tablet every day. And if you're detoxing, you will go through a healing crisis, and
Hmm.
your body has in its cell memory the poison ivy could still be buried. And you could have had poison ivy 10 years ago, and go through detox and have poison ivy, and you're like, I wasn't even outside.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
there's definitely a healing crisis with detoxification. Sometimes you need to speed up your detoxification. Sometimes you need to slow it down. So for some people that start off, a tablet may be too much. If you know you're sensitive to herbs, then start off with a quarter of a tablet. See how you feel, and then work your way up to that full tablet a day.
Hmm.
But I don't know of any condition or symptom that I would say they should not take NRF2, because again, it's the root cause of nearly every disease, and that oxidative stress is the aging process. Every part of our body is made of cells,
Hmm. Okay.
so it can
Yeah,
benefit everybody.
I think that's interesting that you touch on a healing crisis because, well, I always call it a Herx reaction, a Herxmeyer reaction, but I know a lot of people really were like, what are you talking about? I've never heard that word before. And so basically, that's when, because I think sometimes people might get confused and think, oh my gosh, I'm allergic to it, or oh my gosh, like I'm having, bloating or a headache
It's
or something,
working. And I
Okay.
tell them it's working. And I always, when I do an assessment on my clients, I always tell them up front, this is what you can expect going through detoxification.
Hmm.
Cold and flu-like symptoms. That's good. You have lymphatic stagnation through the standard American diet of meats, dairies, grains, nuts, seeds, and beans. You're getting rid of a lot of that mucus in your lymphatic system.
Hmm. Yeah, so
So
it's actually,
everybody that's doing detox correctly is going to go through a healing crisis.
and it's perfectly normal. Yeah, I know I did at the beginning of this, and it seems um, the sicker you are, the more you notice it right off the bat. Some people they just really do appreciate health and wellness, and they're generally overall very healthy and very clean diets, and they take something like this and they're like, I didn't really feel anything. And then you have somebody else who's more struggling with some chronic things, and that's when I think you tend to notice it more. Um, but
Yeah, and healing crisis it can get so bad that you feel like you got to go to the emergency room. So, with my clients, when I talk about speeding up a detoxification or slowing down, we're talking about the fruits. The
Mhm.
fruits the fruits are the highest level of detoxification. Detoxification is a fasting event. There's different levels of detoxification.
Mhm.
But sometimes you have to slow down your detoxification. And if my client's on raw, mostly fruit and salad at night, and they're going through a really hard healing crisis, sometimes I tell them to eat some cooked vegetables to slow it down.
Hmm.
But, I tell my clients that they should try to push through as hard as they can, because once you push through those healing crises, and then those symptoms go away, once you're symptom free through the detoxification, then you're getting into the regeneration stage where you're regenerating your cells.
Hmm.
Uh, how do you know you've completed your detoxification? Well, if you're on fruits and vegetables, and then you go back to cheat on anything else off of that alkaline-based diet, and you have blowback or symptoms, you're not detoxified yet. You haven't fully detoxified.
Hmm. Okay. Well, and I also know, energy levels will go up, your pain will start to dissipate, things like your skin and all that will clear up, and all the wonderful things that you want to have will certainly like follow once your body is detoxed. So that's
And
really good.
it takes time.
Yeah, it
It
does.
took years for us to get where we're at health wise.
Hmm.
Some symptoms will get better overnight.
Hmm.
Some things will get worse before they get better. But it takes time.
Hmm. It does. I think that's one thing that people really need to realize is that we don't get sick overnight, and so we don't get better overnight. And I know the doctor that formulated this. He said that for a trial period would be for every decade that you are alive is a month on the product. So let's just say a 40-year-old, that would be a 4-month trial. And maybe even a little bit longer because really just to try to flush all of that out. So why did
Well,
you?
I would recommend. I mean, I'm taking it the rest of my life. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I
Oh
recommend to
yeah.
my
Oh.
friends, family, and clients.
Hmm. So am I just meant the beginning part of
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
till
and I
I can
think what
feel better, I guess you would say,
yeah,
because that's
to
everybody
have
wants to
to have a breakthrough in your health, but that doesn't mean
know.
you've
Right.
completed the detoxification process.
Hmm.
There's still a lot of work to do
Hmm.
in the
Well,
detoxification
and
process.
we're inundated with just because I had a breakthrough in my health doesn't mean I can go outside and I don't have radiation and I can go to the store and there's GMOs sprayed on foods and all the things we're talking about. That's still in our world. It's still coming at
Yeah,
us every day, unfortunately. So,
typically, everybody's different,
hmm.
but typically it takes 1 to 2 years of being on mostly raw to go through a full detoxification and get into the regeneration stage. But with the NRF2, it's going to take a lot of time off of that because it's doing
Hmm.
so much more than just food alone can do to reduce your oxidative stress.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, we can't, it's not a magic pill. You can't just
Hmm.
continue on your standard American diet and going to McDonald's and fast food.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying, herbs are great. You can have some symptoms go away and feel healthier, but if you continue to feed your body with acidic foods, so I always, I'm not going to downplay the need to be on the correct diet for detoxification.
Yeah,
But
totally.
that along with the NRF2, uh, I don't care who it is or what the condition is, you can be symptom free. If you go through a full detoxification and regeneration, you can be symptom free and in
Hmm.
perfect health. It's
So,
just a matter of how long each client it takes to do that and how much will they have to do that. you
uh-huh.
know, Life gets busy. It's hard. We just have to do the best that we can. But that is something that everybody can accomplish.
Hmm. Yeah. And healing does take work. It really does. So,
It
um,
starts in the mind.
yeah. Yeah. And being more determined than your illness. And if you're more determined than your illness, you're going to be going on the right track every day for sure. Yeah. I totally believe that wholeheartedly. So, why then, when you heard of this concept of this NRF2 as a doctor, I guess what made you say, yes, I really would like to use this with my patients. This is important.
Well,
Why
I
our
mean,
product, I guess I would say. Yeah.
I mean, just when I spoke to my friend Andrea and she introduced me the first time,
Hmm.
and I read that it reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, that piqued my interest.
Uh-huh.
Because being a detoxification specialist and everything we talked about before about the detoxification process and
Hmm.
oxidative stress on cells and acidic waste that is dumped into the lymphatic system, and then to go out and see the research on it. And
Hmm.
some of the you got to be careful about some of the research out there because they've done research on vitamin E and says that it causes heart disease. Well, when you look into the study, you find out that they were using the synthetic form of vitamin E.
Mm.
So you have to look deep into these studies. But I've read most of the studies, and that's what convinced me. But along with that, if to me, I'm thinking, well, if this is true and it's backed up by these studies, then there must be some amazing testimonials,
Hmm.
and there are.
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
so that was what convinced me, and it just for me as a detoxification specialist, it just ties in perfectly, and it's
Hmm.
what I was doing before. It changed the way I do my practice for the simple reason that it's herbs. It's
Hmm.
5 different herbs working synergistically together. And that's what I did. That's what I did before. I did an assessment on a client, see what's according to their symptoms, and looking at their eyes, because I use iridology and other modalities to look at their overall health and what systems that they're struggling with. And I would recommend the different herbal combinations for those weak systems. But
Yeah.
the problem is a lot of clients just get, and if a client had the money, I'm putting them on a lot of herbs, you
Hmm.
know, a kidney and lymphatic and adrenals, stomach and bowel. There's like the main ones, and then some in tincture, some in capsule. So I can recommend like 10, 15 different herbal combinations to support those systems. But with NRF2, this is the first supplement I tell my clients to take. It's like,
Hmm.
look, if you can't afford, how much are you spending on supplements a month? Well, what are you spending it on?
Hmm.
Now here's NRF2. It's $50 a month after shipping and tax. It's like that's the first thing that you need to make sure you're taking every day.
Hmm.
And then you have the extra money. Let's add in some more herbs and fish oil, B12, vitamin D, some other things.
Hmm.
And but that's the first thing, like, to every client, it's like, this is the first thing you need to take, because
Hmm.
this is going to be, I've been studying natural health for 17 years. I've never come across such an amazing herbal combination or supplement on the market that can change your health by far.
Hmm. Wow. That's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Washington State University says it may be the biggest breakthrough in the history of medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's
I
some pretty
mean,
remarkable studies. I mean, it's really, that's what drew me to it. And I'm not even, I don't even know all that I didn't even, and I just was like, wow. I mean, there is a lot of solid research and studies, and that's awesome. So that really validated to me, because you want to have that validation when you're going to consume something that, number one, it's healthy and it's safe, and that it's actually going to do what it's supposed to do. So,
and the pharmaceutical industry, and they can be biased in these studies. A lot of times
hmm.
they want to attack herbs. They want to find
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
negative to talk about herbs. But when they did the ABC News report, the investigative report, to debunk them, they couldn't.
Hmm.
They just proved their point.
Hmm.
And the medical studies, they couldn't, they couldn't find anything negative about it, only positive. And I believe it's the only supplement that's been shown to increase lifespan.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah. I read
amazing is
that study
that?
too. Hmm.
I mean, it makes sense. It's not,
Hmm.
after finding out about it and researching it, well, yeah, of course it will.
Hmm. Yeah.
because
Well,
that's the
so
aging process. You're reducing that oxidative stress on your cell in the aging process.
mhm.
So it just all came together for me
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
in God's timing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe his timing is always perfect for sure. Every time.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. If we're
so
patient and we wait
yeah.
on him.
Um, so yeah, so tonight, so guys, I want to also invite you guys into we have two really great groups. We have a wonderful educational group. I mean, if you guys are listening to this and you're thinking, wow, like I really want to learn more, I want to read those studies, I want to read the science, I want to see testimonies. We have a really great educational group that we would be glad to add you to. And then we have another business side group. You know, sometimes you experience the healing of detoxification and you get excited about it and you want to share with other people too. And so we have those two really great groups. And so if you're watching and that is something of interest to you, reach out to Dr. Kelly, reach out to me, and we can get you plugged into those. So
Yeah, and it's important. It's important to be talking to other people who are going through the same symptoms you may be going through.
mhm,
You start going through a healing crisis, so you can be reassured. Hey, this is normal
mhm,
to go through this. So we all need to help each other, and we need to share the information.
mhm. I agree. Yep. Totally, 100%. So, well, thank you so much, Dr. Kelly, for coming on tonight. I know it was a treat for a lot of people, and this was a really great topic to touch on. So, I really appreciate you coming on. So,
Yeah, thank you for having me. People can reach me at Humble Healing on Facebook or The Mindful Village. I also have a YouTube channel, The Dr. Kelly Show, which I'll upload this video to. If you could
yeah,
please go to my channel and subscribe, I'd appreciate it.
yeah. All right. Sounds great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. So,
Thanks,
have a good
Holly.
night, Dr. Kelly. Yep, you're welcome. I'll see you later.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.